What's up everyone, GameDad here, and we are back with part 2 of my current Game Boy Advance collection. So in case you missed part 1, here's a link above for you, and let's just dive right in and check out what we got. Up first, we have Justice League Injustice for All, released by Midway in 2002. And in this game, you get to play as a couple of the different characters. As you can see right here, I'm flying around playing as Superman. And you go around, you have different collectibles that you get. You smash on different enemies, things like that. I mean, it has the typical action platformer kind of vibe that you would expect from this kind of game. I mean, graphic-wise, it's okay. Gameplay, it's okay. There wasn't really anything buggy or glitchy about it, but I mean, it was just kind of an okay game overall. Next up, we have Lego Star Wars, the video game, released by Eidos Interactive in 2005. And this takes kind of a different approach than the other Lego games took. I'm assuming just because of the overall capability of the Game Boy Advance system. And as you can see, there wasn't really any kind of, animated cutscenes to it like in consoleized versions of this game. And it was more of just like still shot kind of cutscene action. And the overall gameplay was kind of weird. They kind of lock you into this perspective that you can see here without actually letting you really roam around in a full 3D space. Next, we have Lilo and Stitch, released by Disney Interactive Studios in 2002. And this one, it doesn't really follow the movie per se, but it gives you classic Disney action platformer kind of thing going on. It goes through, lets you play as some different characters. You get a bit of a story going along with it, and it kind of loosely follows the actual movie. So, I mean, overall, it's a fun, cutesy little game. A lot of games like this were released on the Game Boy Advance. Here is The Lion King 1.5, released by Disney Interactive Studios in 2003. And this one, I gotta say, it's a huge graphical jump compared to the last game. I mean, it's only 1 year later, but they did so much more with the colors, with the shadowing, the overall gameplay in general. It just felt like this game was a huge leap forward in what Disney Interactive was actually able to do in their games. And this, it was fun. As you can see here, riding around on Pumbaa using Timon and just having some classic Disney fun with some of their characters. Up next, we have Mario Golf Advanced Tour, released by Nintendo in 2004. And with this game, it has a little bit of a story mode, it has a little bit of multiplayer to it, and then you just got some classic quick solo play that you can do. And this game, it's really fun because it takes a more comical approach to a golf game and lets you play as different Nintendo characters while you do it. So it was actually a lot of fun to be able to play through this game. Now, here we got Mario Kart Super Circuit, released by Nintendo in 2001, and I gotta be honest, this is probably one of my favorite Mario Kart games overall, because it was the first time that you could really take Mario Kart on the go with you. And graphically, it's better than Super Nintendo or anything like that. It doesn't compete with today's graphics, of course, but at the time, it was just mind-blowing what you were able to do with this game. You could pick it up and just do some quick solo play, or you could actually hook up, play with friends, and various things like that, and it was just a super fun game overall. Now here we have Medal of Honor Underground, released by Destination Software in 2002, and while this game does have just an absolutely inordinate amount of dialogue before it actually lets you play, which is annoying, it did try to go for a cool kind of Doom aspect. Unfortunately, it failed miserably. The frame rate of this game makes it nearly unplayable. It's ridiculous. There is no true aiming. It kind of auto-locks onto people, but even that doesn't work very well. This game, just stay away. It is awful. Now here we have Metroid, released by Nintendo in 2004, but this is actually the original Metroid that came out on the Nintendo Entertainment System, the original NES. And this game is actually part of the classic NES series on the Game Boy Advance. They did a whole series of these games where they ported old NES titles to the Game Boy Advance because it was powerful enough to be able to handle them, unlike the original Game Boy. So this is just classic NES Metroid in all its glory, yet you get to take it on the go with you, which is really awesome.
Now, here we have a combo cart that is Mousetrap, Operation, and Simon, released by Destination Software in 2005. And this lets you go through and play 3 classic board game style games, but on your Game Boy Advance. So with Simon, it's exactly what you'd expect. You touch the lights in the order that they appear. And then Mousetrap and Operation, they play exactly like the board games. So it's pretty cool to be able to have a digital version of these to take on the go with you. Next up, we have the Namco Museum, released by Namco in 2001, and in this game, it actually takes a few of the super popular Namco titles from back in the day and puts a kind of a new twist on them. It gives you some new modes, things like that. So as you can see right here, this is Miss Pac-Man, and it goes through, it has the classic game board in there, lets you play the game like you normally would, but then it adds a couple of special modes to it as well, in case you're looking for something to change it up a little bit. Up next, we have Naruto Ninja Council, released by Tomy Corporation in 2003, and this game is kind of a side-scrolling beat-em-up style game. So you go through and you can either play as Naruto or Sasuke, and you get to kind of work through the story of this game versus where a lot of beat-em-ups are kind of just you hit the level, you beat 'em up, and it has a super loose-fitting kind of story. This one actually develops a full-fledged story as you go around and play the game, so it was kind of nice to have that variety mixed with the beat-em-up genre. Here we've got Open Season, released by Ubisoft in 2006, and this game is another one of those that is loosely based off of the movie. It kind of takes you through the whole storyline of the movie, but doesn't follow it to the letter. So I mean, it's kind of cool. You go through, you play as the bear, I forget his name right now, but you go through and you just play through the different levels. There's different collectibles to get. Your typical kind of side-scrolling action-adventure platformer kind of thing. So, I mean, it's fun. Up next is another movie adaptation, and that is Over the Hedge, released by Activision in 2006. And this one, I thought it was kind of cool right from the get-go right here. This is the title screen, or kind of like the loading screen, but you get to go around and control the character as you're walking through. You can see some reflections in the water, and it just kind of takes you through like the opening credits of the game, but it allows you to interact with them and play with them. And then after that, it just gets into exactly what you would expect. Kind of like Open Season, it's just following this movie instead. Now, here we have the Pac-Man collection, released by Namco in 2001, and this one gives you a few different Pac-Man kind of games. As you can see, there's one called Arrangement, there's Pac Attack, there's a few different options, and they're all different takes on Pac-Man games. So it was pretty cool to be able to play through a bunch of different variations of the classic Pac-Man game. As you can see right here, this one, it adds more of kind of a 3D effect, adds some animation to all the little pellets and stuff like that. So it was a fun variation of a classic arcade game. Now, last up is the Phantasy Star Collection, released by THQ in 2002, and this one actually takes you through a collection of the original Phantasy Star games. So this wasn't part of like the classic NES series or anything like that, but it's kind of, I wouldn't say a reimagining, but kind of a mild update to the original Phantasy Star games, and it lets you go through and play them on a handheld. So another cool thing to be able to have in my Game Boy Advance collection.
So that is everything that is currently in part 2 of my Game Boy Advance collection. Now, as always, let me know down in the comments below what you thought of this video, and also if there's anything that I should be on the lookout for to add to my collection. And of course, while you're down there, please be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, as well as that little notification icon so you can alert every time I got a new video coming out. As always, I'm GameDad. I thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you later.